Hello, adventurers and dungeon masters of all shapes and sizes. My name is Chance, welcome to my Spellbook, and thank you so much for tuning into the first ever episode of our combat series. To be honest, this has been a long time coming now. I've gotten a ton of requests for doing this. 5e is one of the more notoriously complicated combat systems, so hopefully this series will be able to help you out. The first installment will be just on the order of combat. It'll just be a quick overview and kind of give you some clues as to what we're going to be covering in this series. So with that being said, let's take a look at how time works in combat. So it's actually broken down into what we call rounds. A round is represented by about 6 seconds in the game world. During a round, each participant in a battle takes a turn. The order of turns is determined at the beginning of a combat encounter when everyone rolls initiative. Once everyone has taken a turn, the fight continues to the next round if neither side has been defeated. So, really cool stuff. Something worth noting is all of your turns technically happen at the same time, so just please bear that in mind. It's really cool stuff. I like it. Let's take a look at the step-by-step breakdown as to how combat operates in 5e. So, step 1 is you have to determine surprise. This is something that the DM does, it's not something the players have to worry about, and we do have a later video on surprise in general. The DM determines whether anyone involved in the combat encounter is surprised. It's a really cool mechanic, I really like it. A lot of people misuse it, so I really urge you to check out the video. The second step is to establish positions. There's a lot of tricks to doing this. This is where things like marching order come into play. Movement in 5e is pretty tricky to understand if you're a newcomer to D&D in general. So we have another video on that coming out, so stay tuned for that too. The DM decides where all the characters and monsters are located, given the adventurer's marching order or their stated positions in the room or other location. The DM figures out where the adversaries are, how far away, and in which direction. So pretty standard stuff there. Step 3 is roll initiative. This is kind of where the characters get more involved, at least in terms of their first roll. So everyone involved in the combat encounter rolls initiative, determining the order of the combatants' turns. Really cool stuff. Initiative is also one of those things that has a lot more rules to it than you might initially suspect, so we'll look into that too. And taking turns. Each participant in the battle takes a turn in initiative order. Really great stuff. That's the meat and potatoes of combat right there. Fact of the matter is turns also pretty complicated in 5e. Once again, 5e is one of the longer combat systems, so we'll have to break it down for you. And step 5, begin the next round. When everyone involved in combat has had a turn and the round ends, repeat step 4 until the fighting stops. So, makes sense. Let's get to my personal thoughts on it. You know what? I've stated it throughout this video, 5e is one of the more complicated combat systems, and it's very overwhelming for new players, almost regardless of class, and even a couple of the veterans mistake a couple rules as homebrewed rules. I'm probably just as bad for that. I've honestly learned a lot while working on this series, and I'm not gonna be a rules lawyer or anything, but we've been doing a couple things wrong in a couple of my campaigns, so yeah, it's a good learning experience even for those more experienced players. I'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons, Marcos G. Guzman Jr. and Reina. Your support has been great. I really appreciate it. We do the daily live streams from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We try and do it every day. Sometimes life gets in the way, but if that does happen, I'll put it in the discussion section of my video, or in my channel, so you can check it out there. And if you like that awesome Warforged on the screen, and you'd like your own hand-drawn picture of your D&D character, check out our Patreon videos to figure out exactly how to do that. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I'm looking forward to getting this series started, and I hope you'll all appreciate it. That being said, have a great day, and as always, happy adventuring.